The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. Plato. The power of self-discipline, how to stay on track. A reflection told from the eyes of a life well lived. The forgotten virtue. Sit with me for a while. There's no rush here. We have time. And in truth, time is where it all begins. Because what you do with your time, how you shape it, protect it, fill it, ultimately becomes the story of your life. Now, I've lived long enough to tell you this with some certainty. There's one trait, one quiet, stubborn virtue that has shaped every strong man and woman I've ever known. It's not brilliance, not beauty, not charm. No, it is self-discipline, a word so simple, but rarely understood. You won't find many people talking about it these days. Not in a world obsessed with convenience, instant rewards, and viral moments. But long before smartphones and short attention spans, we were taught something else. We were taught that anything worth having takes time, and anything built to last takes discipline. Not the loud kind, not the military kind, but the slow, sacred kind. The kind you build in quiet mornings, in hard decisions, in holding your tongue, in standing up for your word, even when no one's watching. Because discipline, my friend, is the backbone of becoming. Discipline isn't harsh, it's devoted. There's a lie that's crept into the hearts of many, that self-discipline is about being strict, harsh, cold. But that's not true. In fact, it's the opposite. Discipline is an act of devotion, a form of self-respect. When I was young, my grandfather would rise before the sun every single day, rain or shine. He wasn't chasing money. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He simply had work to do, fields to tend, tools to repair, letters to write, a life to honor. At the time, I didn't understand why he did it, but now I know. He wasn't just building a life, he was becoming someone. And that becoming was built not in bursts of inspiration, but in steady, faithful rhythm. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. And when you start living that way, life starts responding differently. You begin to shape your days, not the other way around. The subtle war of daily choices. Each day, we wake to 1,000 tiny battles, whether to rise when the alarm rings, whether to speak with kindness when irritation bites, whether to reach for your phone or your purpose. Most of these battles are invisible to the world, but not to you. And over time, these seemingly small choices begin to sculpt you. They either pull you into a life of aimless comfort or carry you toward a life of quiet mastery. There were days in my life when I lost those battles, gave in to laziness, delayed what mattered, drifted, and each time I felt it, not just in results, but in spirit. There is a weight to knowing you betrayed your own standards, but self-discipline, it gives you the ability to begin again, to rise, not once, but every time. That's the real gift, not perfection, but returning to the path, to your values, to yourself. The fire fades, but the flame remains. That wild wind that sweeps through us, promising great beginnings. It's lovely, sure, but it's not loyal. Discipline is. You see, motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a decision, and decisions are made not once, but daily. When the excitement fades, discipline remains. When applause is gone, when the goal is still miles away, when you feel utterly alone, discipline is the friend who stays. That's why the people who accomplish great things, artists, builders, caretakers, athletes, healers, don't rely on mood. They rely on structure, routine, intention. They create habits that carry them, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days. Because if you only act when you feel like it, life will never yield its deeper rewards. Discipline builds inner strength. We often praise discipline for what it helps us achieve, but perhaps its greater power is in what it helps us endure. Because life, as you already know, is not a straight line. It will test you, break you, stretch you. There will be days when everything feels heavy, when illness strikes, when people disappoint you, when grief sits at your door. In those moments, it is discipline that steadies the hands and quiets the shaking voice. It's discipline that says, "I will show up anyway." That washes the dish, makes the call, prays, walks, tries again. Discipline is spiritual. It's an anchor. When storms come, and they will, you don't need brilliance. You need resolve. A life that honors the long view. Now, if you've made it this far with me, I'll ask you something rare. Consider the long view. We live in a time of short rewards. We're taught to chase likes, hits, hacks, but deep life doesn't move that way. A well-lived life is not a sprint. It's a long, sacred walk. Self-discipline allows you to think beyond the moment, to delay today's comfort for tomorrow's meaning, to say no, not as punishment, but as a yes to something greater. Do you know what that does to a person? It restores them. It quiets the noise. It lets you walk through a world full of distraction, with eyes that see, hands that build, and a heart that trusts the process. You don't need to do everything. You need to do the right things, repeatedly, lovingly, daily. The daily return. There is no finish line to this work. Discipline is not something you earn and then retire. It is a posture, a promise you renew each morning. So when you fall short, because you will, don't run from the mirror. Just return, gently, honestly. Start again. Write the page, make the bed, take the walk, breathe deeply, turn off the noise. You are always one decision away from being back on track. And that, to me, is the most beautiful part of it all. The legacy of self-discipline. If you want to leave something behind, not just to be remembered, but to be felt, let it be this: that you lived not just with passion, but with persistence. That you didn't just chase dreams, you built them. That you showed up, even on days when no one clapped. That your life was not ruled by impulses, but guided by intention. Let discipline be your daily letter to the world. I cared enough to try again. And when your time is up, as mine will be one day, may those around you say, they could be counted on. They lived with quiet strength. They chose the narrow road and found peace. Because in the end, that's the real power of self-discipline. It doesn't make life easier, it makes you stronger.